Okay, we're continuing with the laws of Lashon Harah, Klal Zayin, Halacha Tes, chapter 7, number 9. And we're talking about the prohibition to listen to evil speech, to believe evil speech. And what the Chavetz Chaim is doing now is he's going through a few categories where one might think in these situations you could believe evil speech because of perhaps there's more believability. And he tells us, and he's going to tell us those laws if in fact there are any leniencies in cases where someone tells you something negative about somebody else, and because of the way in which it was told, it appears that the information might be more credible. So the first case, he's going to talk about something called Mesiach Lefi Tumo. Mesiach Lefi Tumo means that someone is talking in normal conversation, and in the normal conversation he mentions something kind of like derech agav, like off the cuff, not off the cuff, but he mentions something that's not really the main reason he's speaking, but he just like mentions it as an aside. For example, let's say there's somebody who usually, right, there's very detailed laws, a woman can't get remarried unless her husband is dead, unless he is no longer in this world. So there are certain people that we don't believe when they say, give testimony that somebody has passed. But if they say it in a certain way where it's just as an aside, then they have more believability because they're not coming to give testimony, they just mentioned it without even thinking, so they're not trying to trick us. For example, if someone comes and says, you're talking, and he says, yeah, it's a shame that person died, he was such a good-looking guy. So he's not coming to give testimony about the death, he was coming to comment about how good-looking he is. Or if, let's say, you have a meat soup, excuse me, I'm just going to close the window because the garbage men are coming and it's a lot of noise. Sorry about that. If you have meat soup and some milk falls into the meat soup, and somebody says, just in passing, someone who's not usually believed, but they say in passing, oh, wow, tastes a little milky, this cholent, right? You didn't ask them, hey, can you tell me if there's any milk in the cholent, and they tasted it and said, oh yeah, there's milk, but rather they just on their own were kind of like, oh, this is a good cholent, I like the pepper, I like the salt, it tastes a little milky, and they're just kind of saying lefi tumo, not for the purpose of giving testimony, but they just mention it. So now, what if someone comes to you and speaks Lashon Harah, and he's not coming to denigrate someone, right? It's clear when someone's coming to denigrate someone that's a problem, but maybe it's different if he's just saying something agav, he's saying something as an aside. Okay, v'im misha siper lo Lashon Harah al echad hay mesiach lefi tumo b'davar zeh. If somebody is saying this as an aside, is saying mesiach lefi tumo, dina hachi, this is the law. Im yesh be'inyan hazeh afilo himhu emes l'shavta l'tzaras chus o she'inyan zehu be'inyanei shlilos hamaylos o echad mishar pratim shebiarnu la'el b'siv zayin. He says that all the laws still apply. You're still not allowed to believe the Lashon Harah. Meaning, if it's a case where the guy's telling you, first of all, if you can judge him favorably, he says something negative about somebody as an aside, and you can judge him favorably that it's not really negative, you should judge him favorably. Again, the case I keep saying is, I saw Tom taking money out of the tzedakah box, so that could be interpreted as Tom is stealing, or he's just, getting change. So you have to judge him favorably as getting change. Or if he just says, this guy doesn't have such great midos, or he's not telling you that he violated an explicit thing in the Torah. He just says, he gets angry sometimes. So something like that, you're not allowed to believe any of that at all. And for sure, if the person who's talking to you didn't see it himself, you're not allowed to believe any of it. Even now, let's say you don't have any of those. He says, even if it's not one of those things, so I guess he tells you something very wrong that this person did, you're not allowed to believe it. And for sure, it's forbidden to take what you heard from this individual and go speak to other people about it, or to denigrate him, bidvarm over zeh. V'kal v'chomer ben beno shel kal v'chomer le'inyan al hafsidu over zeh b'mammon o lahakoso chas v'shalom devade asur min haTorah. And he says, for sure, it's forbidden to cause this person a monetary loss, or to hit him or to punish him some way. That is forbidden from the Torah. So again, even we came out that usually in certain areas of halacha in Jewish law, when someone gives testimony, there's a question whether you believe him or not. But sometimes, even when you wouldn't believe a person who's giving straight up testimony, as done in a court of law, if he mentions something in passing, certain times we believe him more than had he given testimony. So, but it comes here for the topic of Lashon Harah. This Mesiach Lefi Tumo is the same, and we do not give any more credence to believe him when he's Mesiach Lefi Tumo. We still do not believe the person speaking the Lashon Harah. Okay, let's do Halacha Yud. Number 10. V'im yeshalav dvarim hanikarim. Now, what if someone comes to speak to you Lashon Harah, and there's dvarim hanikarim, meaning you could tell from other factors that the story that he's telling you is true. Right? The case of the Gemara is where somebody came to tell David HaMelech about Mephibosheth, that Mephibosheth was kind of like rebelling against him and wasn't respecting the king, which is a big sin. And David HaMelech, King David, saw that this was true from the way Mephibosheth was acting, that he was dressing like a mourner because David was still alive and he was not coming to greet King David. So from the fact that what this person told King David, even though it was negative, that Mephibosheth wasn't honoring the king properly, but King David could see from the situation and other recognizable factors that what this person was telling King David was true. So what's the halacha here? Meaning you have other sources of evidence that this is true. Right? So it appears that what the person telling you from other factors is true. Dina hachi, this is the law. Im yesh b'inyan hazeh afilu im medavar emes l'shoft l'tzad schos o b'inyan shlius hamayis o b'chol shar pratim hamavurim la'el b'siv zayin l'shayich was devarim hanikarim. Devade anu mechuyovim l'dono l'kaf schos. Kevin shu ish b'inyan kedish shlius bazay dezeh b'einav ukanal. So he says, if the negative thing that's being said to you, if you can judge him favorably, you should judge him favorably. And if the negative thing is something which isn't super explicit in the Torah, where you can say, oh, maybe this guy just didn't know the halacha and that's why he's acting like that, then you also have to judge him favorably. For example, right, you say the person is an angry person, right? He gets angry often. So that is a Torah prohibition to get angry, but it's something which people aren't aware of, which we mentioned earlier in the Chafetz Chaim. So you really shouldn't believe, that this person gets angry, or you should believe that, he's not doing it on purpose, he doesn't know any better. Right? Because we differentiated before when someone tells you Lashon Hara on someone that he's doing a sin, which everybody knows is a sin, like adultery, murder, theft, something like that, or something people don't really know is a sin, like to not honor Shabbos properly, or to be angry. So he's saying that even if the guy comes and tells you, yeah, this is a person who gets angry, and you've seen it yourself, he's an angry guy, and there's recognizable factors, but nevertheless, you should think to yourself, don't believe that he's doing a sin. Maybe he just doesn't know there's a Torah prohibition to get angry. And also, if he tells you something like he's stealing from the tzedakah, he's taking money from the tzedakah box, and you saw him take money from the tzedakah box, you should say, oh yeah, maybe he gave money before, and he's just taking his change now. By Shachris he put in a 20, and he had in mind that he's going to get changed. There weren't enough singles, so at Mincha time he took out 15 singles, and he really gave a $5 donation. That's what you should think. Meaning in that case, you actually saw him take the money out of the tzedakah box. Okay, aval imhu davar asher ein limtso atzad schus al ha'ushko mutar lahamen l'kabel. But if it's something which there is no way to judge him favorably, it's just something which is objectively bad, and so this person told you something negative about, let's say, Tom, and you saw things which indicate that what Tom was doing is true. In that case, and again, it's not something where you could view him positively, and it's something where everybody knows is a sin, then you are allowed to believe it. Now, he says in the bottom that we all have to be very, very, very careful with this, because it's very easy to make excuses and say, oh, I could believe him because I saw XYZ. You have to be very, very careful that what you actually saw indicates what is true. And one should not paskin yet based on this class, because we didn't finish yet, and there's going to be many details about when you could believe Lashon Hara, even when there's Dvarim Hanikarim, even when there's outside circumstances which indicate that what was said is true. So again, we just learned that even if someone is Mesiach Lefi Tumo, they're saying Lashon Hara in just casual conversation, they're not doing it with the purpose to denigrate someone, one is not allowed to believe it. And Number two, we learned that if that you hear Lashon Hara from somebody and you yourself have seen outside factors, outside information which indicates it's true, if you could judge him favorably, you have to judge him favorably. Or if it's not something which is explicit in the Torah that everybody knows about, you have to judge him favorably. But if it's something really bad that everyone knows is a problem and you have outside information corroborating it, then you're allowed to believe it. But the Chavetz Chaim warns us you have to be very, very careful not to just, you have to make sure you judge it properly and look into it very well as not to believe Lashon Hara about someone too quickly. Hope everyone has a beautiful day.